Hello and welcome to another video project on Alfa Restoration YouTube channel. Today's video covers the second part of the head gasket repair works, which also includes timing belt and tensioner presentation. Let's get started. Preparation before head gaskets installation is essential. Remove rust deposits on the coolant jackets, as we need to have the cooling circuit free of contaminants which compromise cooling efficiency. Crankshaft front seal installation requires clean surfaces. Brake cleaner is just fine to use. The timing pulleys combined with spacers can help proper installation of the crankshaft front seal. Water pump surface should be absolutely clean so that the gasket is properly seated and no coolant leaks happen. While the injectors are out of the engine, it's a good opportunity to have them professionally cleaned. All metal parts like pulleys, brackets, head bolts, etc. have been electroplated. It is highly advisable to apply a thin layer of sealant so that oil leakage is avoided. Engine assembly requires proper lubrication to avoid catastrophic wear during the first startup. Such lubrication is provided using Permatex assembly lube, which has excellent properties and dissolves to engine oil after startup. As seen on the tappets, assembly lube is sticky and lubrication is sufficient before engine oil takes over. Camshaft rear cover gasket. Just 3 fasteners to keep the cover in place. Install the camshaft cover nylon gasket and then have the head seated to the cover. We will use the cover screws just to keep temporarily everything together. This is the right side head. We are in the right side bank of the Boxer engine, and we are now attempting to simulate the timing mark being on the designated position for the top dead center, TDC. While rotating the camshaft, we will be expecting the exhaust valve to open since ignition has occurred, and here's the valve that opens. I will try a little bit again, and we can see the exhaust valve open, and then we also see the exhaust valve of the cylinder number 3 opening, which means we have gone to the phase of ignition on cylinder 3. So once this operation is successful, we have concluded that everything is supposed to be in good condition, and I mean in good working order on the camshaft and the head itself. We must pre-install the head bolts, especially the ones which are on the lower side of the head, for the simple reason lack of space to fit them while the head is on the engine. The bolts will simply fall on the chassis rail, therefore we need to install the head bolts prior installation on the engine. According to the workshop manual, a few drops of engine oil should be applied on the head bolts threads. We will do a final preparation on the engine block with the use of brake cleaner, which is a solvent just enough to remove any residues of oil or contaminants. Note that cylinder number 1 is in TDC, top dead center, which means that it's milliseconds before the ignition. This is important when doing the timing belts of the boxer engine. It's a very important step to follow. The threads where the head bolts are placed should be thoroughly cleaned without any sign of dirt or oil residues. Oil residues inside the threads will create the phenomenon of hydrolock, resulting in cracks on the engine block, something that we don't want. So the engine block is now ready for installation of the head gasket. Head gasket can only go one way on the guides, here and here. These are the guides. We will now install the head. This was the first step to install the head just in place. It is merely kept in place by this screw. I will dive under the car to start doing all head bolts, 3 on the bottom and 3 on the top, so that the initial torque down is done just by hand and then with a torque wrench. We will start from the middle bolt, the middle top, with a torque setting at 85 Newton meters. be sure to place a mark on the head bolt so that you know this bolt has been properly set. I think it will be easy for the torque wrench to be placed on the lower head bolt from the bottom. So the head bolts are all torqued down to the specified torque setting. So let's now protect the intake because it's easy for something to fall inside, and we will proceed with the valve cover bolts, this one, this one, and two from the bottom, which are easy to handle. We are now at the left side bank. The metal timing belt cover is in place and it is secured in position by 4 screws. The timing pulley is installed, and with the help of the pulley locking tool, the pulley screw is set at 65 Newton meters. Next comes the front engine mount. There are 4 screws mounted on the engine block and 2 on the suspension cross member. Let's now move on to the timing belts. First apply the crankshaft pulley and then the belt properly set on the 2 pulleys. The upper part of the timing belt, where the tensioner here should apply pressure, should have this kind of slack. The bottom side should be straight and tensioned. So once the tensioner applies pressure to the belt, we know we are good. Notice the timing marks on the right side camshaft, which is way off the designated place. We will need to rotate the camshaft, and meanwhile we will be installing the belt. It's the opposite of the left side, where the tension on the belt should be on the top, on this side. It's a little tricky, but we will manage to position the belt and the camshaft on the designated spot. I have used a trick here with this metal bar and the spanner, so that I am keeping the timing marks on the designated spot. So I will now make sure that the top side of the belt is spot on, and although it will be a little bit tricky, the belt slides in perfectly. So the tensioner will stretch the belt from here. This is the spring which helps the tensioner always be in tension. This end should be here. There is a trick which does the job, which is here explained. We do have the tension here. I mean, there's no danger of the spring exploding in our face. We will make sure to apply some tension here, and meanwhile we will try to push this end to the slot. We will need to push a little bit harder so that the spring end enters the recess. And the left side belt and tensioner are properly positioned. We will now move to the right side. after the engine has turned, do a run simulation so that the belts are properly seated and observe the timing marks being in position. We will now do the final torque adjustment on the tensioners. Since the engine has turned a few times, we will need to undo the tensioner locking nut so that any of the tension remaining is applied to the belt and the final torque on the tensioner nut will be done. So you see here the washer is a little bit loose and we can reapply the final torque on the nut. We'll do the same on the right side tensioner too. So the timing belts have been properly adjusted. This is the final torque setting for the timing pulleys. The setting is 45 Newton meters. Let's now move on to the engine top so that the intake manifolds are fixed to the engine block along with the cooling system components, alternator, AC compressor, fuel rail, etc. Next parts to be installed are the plastic timing belt covers, water pump pulley and crankshaft main pulley. The torque setting for the crankshaft pulley is 140 Newton meters. We are moments before the engine is started. New engine oil and coolant are added and before the engine is started, it is advisable to do a few turns so that the oil pump builds up oil pressure. Such job can be done with a fuel pump fuse temporarily removed. The engine started without any problem, and within a few seconds we can hear NOx going away. The small ticking sound coming from the tappets went away within a few minutes, and needless to say that the fumes coming off the engine bay and the exhaust were significant for the first 10 to 15 minutes. This is the engine startup a few days after the engine was initially started. No blue smoke during startup, apart from the normal condensation during startup and warm-up. Another project has been successfully completed. This has been my first project in deep waters, which I had never tackled as an amateur working on Alphas, and thankfully I didn't have any kind of obstacle encountered during the repairs. Since I am no way a professional, I had to study thoroughly the official Alpha documentation on boxer engines, which is the Bible on repair works. Following the repairs, I can now feel the engine running smoother, and more importantly, the engine temperature returns to normal when on the high end of 90 or 100 degrees. This is perfectly justified as the debris inside the cooling jackets was blocking proper cooling. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for more videos to come.